Welcome, Kristen Levine. She is the president of Kristen Levine Media, founder of Kristen Levine Pet Living, and senior counsel at FWV Fetching.
Yeah, no wonder I'm so busy. Thanks, Joe.
Exactly.
Great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining the Pet Marketing Mastermind. Please tell everybody what keeps you busy about all your companies and brands.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned at the top, Kristen Levine Media, that's kind of an umbrella company I created to kind of house the different types of services that we provide. So I had started an agency back in the day, 2003, called Fetching Communications. And it's since been acquired by French West Vaughan out of Raleigh. We have a specialty practice for pet and animal health. And so we've co-branded it and it's called FWV Fetching. So I spend about half of my time as senior counsel on that team. We work with a lot of pet and, veterinary type of brands, PR, digital, social media, creative, that sort of thing. And then I spend the rest of my time working on my Pet Living platform, which is a website where I educate pet parents about health, wellness, and lifestyle topics. And over there, we do a lot of brand partnerships, sponsored content, things like that. So in a nutshell, that's what keeps me busy.
Awesome. The who's who of the pet industry. I love it. So going back to potentially way back then, what was your first marketing strategy role, pet or non-pet?
Okay, good question. So it was pet. And my first role was I was the PR director for the SPCA of Tampa Bay. So I didn't start out as the director. I started out as the coordinator, right? But it was all me. Like there was no other person in the whole shelter that did it. So I kind of had to work my way up to the title. But yeah, it was a great job, a great entry into the pet space. And, I'm still friends with a lot of the folks that I work with there today.
That's a lot of fun. Like starting in rescue, starting with your heart.
Just promoting pet adoption, the benefits of spaying and neutering and teaching people how to solve common pet problems. And that's really back in those days, that's where I learned so much from all these different pet professionals that worked with the shelter and made it really possible for me to gather a lot of knowledge about pet care and eventually launch my blog, Pet Living. So
very cool. I love that background where it started in heart, you're gain some knowledge, and then you see where it took you. I know you spent some time at HSN, the Home Shopping Network. What, if any, difference in marketing to pet owners versus other consumers? Obviously, your first role was in pet, but certainly understanding marketing as a whole, or like the difference between like if a pet owner's on the other side of this campaign, or it's somebody buying an item off HSN.
Yeah, I think at the most basic level, it's really finding out about what's important. What are your audience's interests? What are their behaviors, and what channels do they engage on? So, with pet brands, pet companies, they want to focus on emotional appeals, highlighting the benefits that their products or services are going to, provide to that person's pets. That person's pets' wellness and happiness. And then like a sports analogy would be, these are also very passionate people, sports fans, but they have different motivations, right? So those strategies might focus more on community and shared experiences and just kind of leveraging the excitement around games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that emotional appeal is definitely something different than when you're selling in a different product. Is like, this is for a loved one. They're always going to be, no dog ever grows up and leaves the house, right? Like they don't, it's a different, they're kind of always in this stage of taking care of them and supporting them.
With pet care, it also depends on what your product or service is and how much impact it has on that animal's health too. Like if you're talking about toys or, enrichment products or, just leashes and collars, that obviously benefits their lifestyle versus you're talking about a medication or a supplement, that actually impacts their health. So there's a greater consideration to be made, a more important decision by the pet owner to be made. So yeah, you kind of have to really understand all those facets regardless of what niche you're in.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Since you do work with a lot of brands and companies, you have your own senior counsel and a PR and marketing agency. How do you keep all of that marketing organized in your brain when a new client's across the way from you, or you're opening up your own website? Are you using any tools, mindset shifts, brand worksheets? Are you filing
Oh
it
my
away
goodness.
somewhere of like,
Yeah, I wish I could say I wish I had an easy answer. Some of it is in the head just because I've been in the industry for 30 years. But, depending on which business unit we're talking about, if we're on the agency side and I'm talking to brands, about, hey, we need a PR. A matter of fact, we just did a proposal for a company that needs a PR agency. And so we do have kind of a system where we go through a kind of a deep dive call, understand what the what challenges are, what problems they're trying to solve. And then we kind of take that away, meet with our team, come up with the ideas, like take what we're best at and apply it to how we can solve their problems. And then we put it in a proposal and present it. It's a longer cycle that way. On the working with brands on the Pet Living platform, it's a much shorter cycle because we're typically working on activations or individual promotions, or they come to us for a very specific need, like content or, video or something like that.
have you ever continue.
Oh, I was going to say, you asked me about tools. So we use Trello. I feel like everybody uses Asana now, but we've been using Trello for a really long time. So we're comfortable with that. Of course, the entire Google suite, Google Docs, slides, all that jazz. We try to keep it as contained as possible. And, I don't know, we probably use 30 different tools if I had to actually count them out.
It is crazy though. Like all these tools I feel like are designed to help, but then they just make you learn a new tool that helps with one aspect of it. And like sometimes, I love that you like, hey, this works. There's no short sights. You're not chasing the tail of the next thing. I think that's a big thing for a marketer to like, this tool works for me, works for my clients. We're seeing results. We're not gonna just jump ship because it's what quote unquote everyone else is.
Well, I think because you can really spin your wheels and spend a lot of time trying out new tools. I'm sure there are better tools all the time, but you just have to manage your time and your resources, and of course they all cost money too. So that's a factor too.
And just between us, go live as well. Have you ever like mistaken a client because you work with so many different clients, or mistaken a demographic, or mistaken a campaign like in the moment because your mind was somewhere else and you're like, oh, you guys should be there, and then they're like, wait, we don't even market to that audience, or is that
That's such a good question, and I am sure I've done that. I'm just trying to think of an example. It probably happens more often than you might think because in the pet space there's so much competition in different categories, right? I can't think of an example. I'm so bad off the cuff like that. Maybe one will come to me while we keep talking. I
love it. It's happened to me a couple of times with like dog bones. I'll be talking with a client about dog bones, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's that one, the better bone, the Betty bone, the and they're and then some of them are pun names too. So sometimes that the puns get caught up in my brain.
Well, yeah, and keeping track of the names of the products can be challenging too. And I have had that happen on client calls where we're talking about a particular product and I just blank on the official name. I mean, anytime you're working with a client, you want to use their lingo, right? Their brand name. But I have definitely kind of tap danced around that and just hopefully they didn't notice, but
oh, I love you.
Right. That thing is great.
Excellent. Okay, so given all the campaigns that you've worked on throughout the years, and we'll talk to your notoriety and on the next question, but what campaign are you most proud of and why? Maybe one that was like local or regional, or that like, you guys were around the conference table for 6 months or 6 minutes and you came up with it.
So I can give you a couple of examples, and both of them we won awards for. One this year, one actually. Can I give you 3 examples?
Of course, yeah.
So I think the one that our agency at FWV Fetching is probably most proud of right now is the VETI Award, which is the VETI Awards are awards given by NAVC, I guess it would be, or a VMX for any type of great marketing that's done within the pet space. And I think they used to limit it to just animal health, but they have since broadened it out to include the pet category, so pet products and associations. So this year we won an award, a Gold VETI Award for our PR campaign for the Global Pet Expo, which is the big trade show that happens every March in Orlando. And we basically broke all the records of media placements, reach, PR value. We broke records on number of influencers attending that year. So this was just for last year's show. So that was a really big one that the agency was super excited about. But we also won an award for a very small campaign that we do for the American College of Veterinary Ophthalmologists. And this is actually a program we've been helping them with for probably 12 to 15 years now. So they're a long-term client. They basically are an association of board certified veterinary ophthalmologists. And what they do is every May, they have a working dog program where if you have a legitimate working dog, police dog, military dog, seeing eye dog, those types of working dogs, credentialed, you can get a free eye exam with your local board certified ophthalmologist. So we won an award for breaking our record for number of placements there. And then the last one I'll just mention quickly was we won last year a campaign that's really close to my heart. It was called Dog Anxiety Awareness Month. And this was a campaign we did with Siva, who now owns the whole Thunderworks line and Feel Away. And so pet anxiety is a kind of a passion topic for me because I've experienced it so much with a lot of my own pets. And I created Pet Anxiety Awareness Month about 8 years ago now. But the cool thing about this campaign was the client wanted it to be unbranded. So we didn't have to talk about the brands themselves. I mean, they got mentioned in some of our content, but it was not the primary focus. The primary focus was to elevate the awareness of the symptoms and the solutions for dog and cat fear, stress, and anxiety. So that was a really fun project to work on. And we won a VETI award for that one too.
Very cool. I love the variety of work that you guys can accelerate at and excel at because you're understanding the audience, your connections, your value in the industry. And so from ophthalmologists to, a massive event in the pet space to be able to understand that. What was maybe a secret or something that you guys did for Global last year that could be shared to somebody in the industry? Was it something about the positioning? I think there was a rebrand on Global as well last year. Was that a part of it?
Yeah, they rolled out a rebrand, which kind of continued into this year. But that was part of it. But I think I would say what we did that was very different last year was typical in the past media. I would say for the past 5 to 10 years, both media and influencers would attend Global. About 2 years ago, we worked with the American Pet Products Association to split that out. So you would either register as media, so you were from a, news or lifestyle publication or what have you, or you were an influencer, you're a content creator that has your own platform. Because even though they both kind of serve the same need for the association and for the trade show, they have kind of different needs and different interests, right? So, so we separated it out. But what we did that was new and different last year was we actually created a separate event for the influencers because we really wanted them to feel special. We wanted them to understand that we understood their need to create great content. And so it was the first time ever we did that, and it was a big hit. And I think they're doing it again this year.
Amazing. Yeah. And I love that specified, this audience needs this one thing. The value might be the same for me, but this audience needs their own place. And especially from a content creator perspective, they are breaking records on reach and authenticity. And it becomes it's almost a seal of approval if a content creator shows up. You're not an event anymore if they don't.
Yeah, it's so true. It's true. And this year they've really gone, I can't give away any secrets, but I'll just say that they're kind of taking it to the next level with, with those influencers in mind, given the great needs they have for visuals and creating really awesome content. So should be exciting.
Very cool. Yeah, specifying it as well, because if you've never been to the show, it's like any show floor, very busy, very loud, and so being able to adjust. And I saw some stuff last year, and I'm excited for it this year as well. This podcast will be released before then, so get people excited about that. So going back a little bit, and maybe on your personal brand, because we talked about some of the agency work.
Yeah.
When a pet owner sees a marketing campaign from Kristen Levine Pet Living, what is your primary goal for them? Is it awareness, sign up, brand love, and how do you measure that success?
Yeah, good question. I would. Are we talking about Are we talking about for Pet Living for the content I'm creating, or are we talking about a sponsored promotion or sponsored content?
Yeah, let's do it for the content you're creating, because I know sometimes the brands will have a heavy hand on if it's not your own. So if this is you sitting down, you have a blank piece of paper.
Yeah,
you want to promote the overall brand.
First and foremost, I want the reader to find the content very helpful and to answer a question that they're trying, or solve a problem that they're trying to solve. It's always great if they engage. I have certain blog articles on Pet Living where we have no comments, because people don't really comment on blogs anymore. It's not as popular as it used to be. But then I have these articles that are about a specific problem that have hundreds of comments, and people are pouring out their souls about how frustrating this situation is and how they need to solve this problem. So number one, I want them to learn from it and find the solution they were looking for. Number two, I would love for them to engage, because obviously that's great for, elevating our content and making Google happy. And then also I love it when they opt in for our newsletter, because we have a weekly newsletter where we're always sharing like the latest trends and products they might want to try. So yeah, I would say those are three: education, engagement, and hopefully they'll opt in for more content.
Awesome. And for measuring success, you're measuring like time on page, number of opt-ins, or are you like content first and results? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, in the days post helpful content update days, we were having to do a lot of things that we weren't doing before for Google. Like, we're focused so much on our audience that, sometimes you have to focus on, making sure that you're checking some boxes that Google wants too, that ultimately are intended for the user, for a better user experience. But so, you kind of go and get blinders sometimes creating your content. And then you remember, you kind of got to make sure that not only are you being helpful with the content that you're using to educate, but also from a user standpoint, it's easy to navigate. It's easy to read. It loads fast. It doesn't have a bunch of ads, chiming through it. So that kind of thing.
Yeah, we've all experienced those blogs where it feels like you are on a side of a wall on a billboard, and the blog is hidden somewhere in between. You're like, where is it?
Yeah, and you're trying to scroll, and you're hitting ads, and they're popping open, and you're like, what? What am I? Gosh. I forgot why I came here. Yeah.
I will never go to a blog for a recipe ever again. I can't do it. That is the absolute. I can't. Someone has to fix it. That's an opportunity.
Absolutely. And then they've got that jump to recipe button, but I can never find that. I'm like scroll, like kind of dodging. I feel like I'm like dodging all the ads, just trying to find that button. And then, somebody fix that, please.
Please. Yes. If you're listening to this, fix it, credit us with it. And and we'll move from there. We talked about it a little bit with Trello and Asana, but given the ever-changing marketing landscape and ecosystem of all the new tools and everything coming up and the hot trends, how do you keep up with the latest trends? What's your secret? Do you have a crystal ball somewhere? Are you reading articles, going to conferences?
You know what I do? I honestly get the vast majority of my education about what's new, what's the latest thing, best practices from podcasts like this one. Going to conferences is also a big one. And I have a mastermind group that meets monthly that I learn what's working for others that I can apply to my businesses. So I read books too, but I would say the podcasts are kind of my favorite because they're easier to digest. You can be doing something else while you're listening, and how about you? How do you stay on top? I'm just curious. I like to know.
Yeah,
am I missing out on something?
Yeah, I do. I do one or two big conferences a year in the outside of the pet space marketing.
Yeah.
I feel like for the last couple of years, there was a bigger disconnect in like marketing strategy outside the space. So if you brought something that was working in credit cards or health or sports, it was like a lead time of like, oh, in 5 years we'll use text, or in a couple of years we'll use this. And so understanding that, I have a mastermind group as well. I think that is highly valuable because you can get caught up in the hype on a service or a product, but if you have a friend that's actually having success, that is like the biggest seal of approval for me, because I'm like, oh, that works, cool. It's like, I'm just going to sign up. I'm going to hit the button. I'm going to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to hit the sign button. And those are 2 ways. And then I have a couple of blogs that I'll follow, podcasts as well. I try not to take in too much information, because for me, I get like overwhelm and anxiety. And then I don't let the current tool work its way out. So if I'm like in a CRM tool, okay, I'm going to give it 3 months, 6 months that I got a recommendation from, and then I'm going to research.
That's such a good point. And I just heard something the other day on a podcast that I thought was such good advice, and you could apply it to what you're talking about. He was applying this advice to books. He was talking about how his son is reading all these books. He's a young entrepreneur, and he explained to his son that, you don't have to keep reading books about the same thing, like whether it's time management or marketing traction. Just read a book that is really great, and then put those principles into action. And I think you could apply that to podcasts too, because I have definitely found myself like just taking in too much information and not actually implementing it, and just kind of sitting on the sidelines and listening to other people talk about works. So what works. So I do think you have to limit the amount of education you consume so that you can actually put it into practice.
Exactly. And I think the other part about that is like, all of those are right if you follow the entire path up.
Yeah.
The mountaintop, right? Like you can get there. Maybe one will take you a year, maybe one will take you 6 months, maybe one will take you 15 minutes. But like, if you don't follow the path, you never get to the mountaintop, because you always have to restart, reset. And they all have these like baked in, like, oh, I need all this back end stuff. And it takes a while too. Marketing is not a one and done. Somebody approached me something where like, well, I have 1 minute to convince these people to buy. I'm like, you can't do it. I'm sorry. Like, I don't care what you put, like, release yourself from what you're going to do. You don't have time.
Right.
You have time to get their name or their email or their social or their follow-up or remarketing, but you need time. It takes time to set in. So if you're jumping ship every 3 months, I don't care if it's the worst marketing program.
You'll never get momentum.
Exactly. That's a huge part as well. I love that advice on books though. That's like reading 12 self-help books a month is not going to help. Like, because they all have 10-step programs. So you're not actually doing the work. You're just jumping ship to the next shiny toy.
Right. Exactly. Because they're also similar in terms of the overall, theories and practices. Just stick with one.
Yeah. And I've seen people with like pen and paper crush the best CRM tool if they actually do it and execute it, right? Like high-end sales, like I'll see people sell planes and they'll just use pen and paper.
Yeah.
But it works. Versus like, I couldn't sell a plane if you gave me every tool in the world. So like, it's good. Stick with it. Give it a good try and use a mastermind group. Absolutely love that advice.
Yeah.
So what do you think, given all the tools and everything happening in the world, what do you think will be your biggest marketing challenge in the next 6 months?
Ooh, the biggest marketing challenge in the next 6 months. Well, personally, for me, the current challenge that we're working on at Pet Living is creating more helpful content. We're bringing on veterinary reviewers to review our health content so that we make sure we're nailing it, fact checking it. So I would say we have some things that we're working on at Pet Living to get more traffic, basically, which means do a better job creating content. As far as implementing new strategies? Is that kind of along the same lines of what you're asking?
Yeah, like understanding like, economic situations or
Yeah.
like increased competitors or AI, like, or increased costs for
Yeah.
goods. Like, what is that thing that you feel like is a brick wall in the next 6 months that you're going to have to go over, under,
Yeah.
around, or
I think,
through, I guess.
yeah, I think economy is a big one. A lot of the companies that we're working with, they're, concerned about spending. They're not as ambitious. They're a little bit more cautious. So I think that's part of it. But I also think that finding ways to implement some of the new tools, which, like AI or SMS is not new, but for some brands that we're working with, they're not doing it. And I think getting brands to try new things is a little bit more challenging right now. And, this is a big one. Getting brands to remember to do the basics right first. And I bring that up because we've had two potential clients come to us recently who have both had the same issue where, they've just been advertising, and they don't have the basics in place to educate their customer. One's coming to us for PR because they said, we're the leader in our category, but nobody knows who we are. Like, you say our name and people don't know who we are. So the good news is you're the leader and nobody knows who you are. So apparently your competitors aren't doing that great a job either. But, and I think that's kind of the bright, shiny object syndrome. We're so focused on sales and, we'll try all the new tools and all the new strategies, but you kind of have to have those basics in place first.
Certainly. Yep. Yeah. I think it's like you see the shiny object. Well, I want to do that retargeting technique with the AI at the end. And you're like, well, you haven't educated your customer on value. So like your
website doesn't convert. People, you can get people to your website, but they're like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, this is sketchy, or, that's an extreme example, but your website's got to be ready, has got to be created and prepared to convert the people that you're paying to send there.
Yeah. Yeah. Build a better mousetrap before you unleash the audience on them.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. Thank you again for sharing that. You talking about sharing advice and sharing insights. After Global, you're speaking at the Pet Summit this year.
Yeah.
Can you tell people a little bit about the Pet Summit, just so they're aware of that? And then can you share maybe a sneak preview of your talk, what they can expect if they sit in the room?
Yes, I'd love to. So the Pet Summit is brand new. This is another new initiative that the American Pet Products Association has put together. And it actually takes place on March 19th, 20th, and 21st. So it starts one day before Global Pet Expo and it overlaps by 2 days. And the idea is this is an educational summit that has business insights, marketing insights, and content for influencers to help influencers grow their platforms. And the idea is that so many, all these people and brands are coming to Global for the trade show, but there wasn't a lot of educational content for them. So why not bring them in a day early, and then they get to tap into all these great learning resources too. So I am speaking on Tuesday, the 19th. I'm actually the very first speaker. There's two of us. Two of us have sessions at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. And my talk is going to be about how to know when the right time is and how to hire your agency partner. And this could be an integrated marketing agency like we have at FWV Fetching, or it could be maybe you're just looking to hire a specialty agency. But yeah, I'm going to kind of walk people through a proven process for how to make the perfect pick of an agency partner so that you're not wasting time and money and potentially ending up with a mismatch.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And the reason I think am a great person to talk about this is not only have I founded an agency, sold an agency, worked for agencies, but I've also hired agencies and fired agencies. So I've kind of seen agency life from a 360 perspective. And so I'm going to give them some insider tips too on like what agencies don't want you to know about hiring them.
Oh no, you're spilling the as the kids say, spilling the tea. Spilling the tea.
Yeah, a little FOMO. Got to throw the FOMO in there.
I like it. That's good. No, I think educating those, because it's a hard thing to educate somebody on, because it's, as a brand, you might hire, 3 or 4 in a 10-year period, hopefully. Maybe more. Hopefully not more than 4 in a 10-year period. But I imagine there's some people that hire an agency every year or every 6 months, or they're hiring a bunch. So understanding that knowledge base, and you definitely are a wealth of knowledge in that space. So exciting for that as well. So as we're nearing the end, what final piece of advice do you have for a pet marketing professional? This could be an entrepreneur who wants to release their pet product, or this could be for an executive at one of your, they've been in the pet space for a while. They want to, scale up their marketing, or scale up their, their approach, or scale up their PR, because obviously you have a pro in that. So what's that final piece of advice you have?
I have a mentor in the e-com space who has a proven strategy, and I'm trying to be like him. And he basically takes on one new thing per year for his brand. So like, for example, a few years ago, he started a podcast. And then the next year he started YouTube. And then the next year he started TikTok. So he doesn't try to tackle all these. Now he's got a small team. So, but I think this goes for big brands too, that do have more resources, is that focus on a few lanes. It could be 1 lane, it could be 5 lanes, but not more than you can handle, and not more than you can figure out how to make it work, or determine that it's just not a fit. So I would say, don't take on more strategy than you can effectively implement.
Yep. I love that. I think the other part of that is that, like, going slower, especially online, can yield better results, because if you're the top, I think we all think of the web as like equally distributed in traffic and eyeballs and views. And it is, if you're listening to this and don't know this, it is not. It is 0.05% of the creators get 99% of the traffic and the eyeballs.
Yep.
And if you're not in that upper echelon on whatever you're doing, from a content perspective, PR perspective, there's no prize for 4th place. Like, they just they don't know you. Like, it's scrolling past your name.
4th place isn't here; it's down here.
Yeah, it used to be you could hide a body on page 2 of Google. They've gotten rid of page 2 now. But like, if you're not in those upper echelon in searches, like, there's no incentive to find you. So I feel like those brands that do, you don't need like, you can execute, and this is the strategy to get you there.
Yeah.
You don't need, talking to a brand the other day, and they're like, oh, we need a TikTok. I'm like, no, you don't need a TikTok. Like, that's not like, is this a class? Are you like, we're not checking boxes. They're not checking boxes in your marketing campaign. Like, do we have effective strategy? Do you have time? Can you invest the dollars in it?
Yeah.
It's a strategy. It's not a box checking experiment.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I like what you said earlier about going slow. So it's like, slow is the new fast, right? Because you got to go slow to get it right.
Yep. For sure. Yeah. There's no prize for 2nd place. Maybe 2nd place. Maybe not 4th. Well, Kristen, thank you again for everything. If our audience wants to follow up with you, where's the best place? We'll put it in the show notes as well. Where's the best place to learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my website's KristenLevine.com. You can find me there. You can connect with me that way, or you can just email me at Kristen@KristenLevine.com. That's probably the easiest way. And thank you for inviting me, Joe. I love talking to you, and it's an honor to be included on the show.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. If you're listening to this, make sure you subscribe, send it to a friend in the pet marketing space, either an executive or an entrepreneur, so they can gain the insight, and we can all crush it this year. Thank you again, Kristen.
My pleasure.
Are you a pet entrepreneur and or pet marketing professional? Do you want a place where you can gain innovative marketing strategies, receive actionable advice, keep up with the latest trends, and thrive in today's market? Welcome to the Pet Marketing Mastermind. All guests are proven and successful marketers in the pet industry.